Welcome back to Shire Travels. This is just a short video I've put together of a few different sites we went to see when we were staying with our friends near Wangaratta. We went and found a few different waterfalls and some great sites around the King Valley, Beechworth and Eldorado areas. Our first port of call was to Paradise Falls, which is in the King Valley, just south of Whitfield. Now there is some great camping in Edie Upper and Edie right on the river. It is very busy though, so if that's somewhere that you're looking to go, make sure you get there early. Paradise Falls is somewhere that I've been wanting to go to for quite a while, but it's just never worked out with timing. But the stars aligned this weekend, we managed to find the time to go there, and it was just after it rained, so we knew that the waterfall would be flowing. Now the walk down to the waterfall isn't too difficult, it's on a fairly well-worn trek, and there are also some stone steps as well. Now as I said, the walk down isn't too bad, it's the walk back up that really is a thigh burner. The walk itself though is only 500 meters each way, so not too bad. So Paradise Falls is located in the Alpine National Park, and the waterfall drop is about 31 meters. Now what's really unique about Paradise Falls is that you can walk behind it. It's not the biggest waterfall, but it's still pretty impressive to be able to stand behind it, and you can hear the water bouncing off the walls behind, which is really weird. It kind of plays on your ears and you think that the water is coming from different direction. Now the 500 meter walk takes you to the viewing platform, and then you go on a little track to the left and that takes you to where you can walk behind the waterfall. Really not a difficult walk. It is quite narrow and there is a bit of a slope when you head down to behind the waterfall, but it's not too bad. We managed it with a heap of kids in tow. Now there are two waterfalls as you can see here. One has a bit more water coming down it than the other. We did see some keen beans in the water. Actually having a bit of a shower underneath was a bit too cold for us. Now I think this would be an amazing spot to be after a really heavy rain. Being behind the waterfall would be pretty scary but a lot of fun. If you are thinking of coming in summer, just bear in mind that it will just be a trickle of water going down. Spring and autumn are probably your best times to get there and visit Paradise Falls. Now there is a bit of car parking at the start of the walk. You can probably fit about 15-20 cars there. There's also picnic benches, wood-fired barbecues and also toilets but no bins. There's a cool part on the walk too where you get to go under this rock ledge, which is quite interesting, and there's really nice views as well as you walk along all across the valley. After that, we headed back to camp and enjoyed a campfire. And the next day we headed to the Eldorado Dredge. Now, this is something which I had never heard of. It had not crossed my radar. When Tom started explaining it to me, I wasn't sure that it was something that I'd really be interested in, but actually it is quite interesting to see the history of it. Essentially what it did was dig up the riverbed with the massive scoops on the front, and then it put it through some sort of processor, and hopefully there would be gold in there. It operated for 20 years and found about 2.2 tons of gold. One thing that I found really interesting was that in the 20 years that it operated, it drew the third most power from the state's electricity grid. So after the city of Melbourne and the city of Geelong, this dredge here was drawing the most power in the state, which is pretty phenomenal. Now you can walk up inside the dredge and have a look around. It's very rusty, so just be careful, otherwise you're going to need a tetanus shot. There's also a short walk you can do around the lake, so you can see the dredge from the other side, and there's some old machinery and things like that that are kind of laying about you can have a look at. Completely free to visit. There's not really any facilities there except for a car park, but one to check out. The next place we're heading to is Barry Falls, which is in between Eldorado and Beechworth. Now, I pretty much just got to see the car park there, which is delightful because our 4-year-old was having a bit of a meltdown. This is some footage that Tom took though. It was about a 500 meter walk to the waterfall, maybe a little bit longer. And the waterfall itself was lovely. There's also a lot of riverside camping in this area. The road in, I'd say, is more suitable for all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. As you can see here, we did have to cross a river at some point. We also nearly ran over a snake, which was a little bit of excitement. But yeah, lots of places to camp in that area. A very beautiful spot. The final place that we're heading to on our mini adventure is Woolshed Falls, which is just north of Beechworth. One thing we really like about this waterfall, and actually the other couple of waterfalls that we saw on this trip, was that you don't just have to look at the waterfalls from behind a barrier. These waterfalls, it feels like health and safety hasn't gone mad here. You can go for swims in these waterfalls, subject to your own safety, your own risk. But at Woolshed Falls in particular, there are some really nice shallow pools where you can have a swim. Yes, there is a little bit of a fast flow there, and if you have young kids, you will want to watch them. The drop down to the main waterfall is about 20 meters. You wouldn't want to accidentally slip down there, and I don't think it's advised swimming at the bottom because the current can be quite strong, but certainly at the top there are so many places where you can hop in the water and have a bit of a swim. But yeah, it's just nice to be able to actually get in and experience nature rather than having to stand behind a barrier. From the car park there is actually a separate track you can take, which does take you to a viewing platform where you're opposite the waterfall, and it's a really nice spot. We were there in the afternoon and the sun was lighting up the falls. It was beautiful. Woolshed Falls has a nice big car park, however it is usually very busy. There's also a few picnic benches there and some toilets. After Woolshed Falls we decided to pop into Beechworth, the historic gold mining town. Turned its hand to tourism like a lot of places like this. A very beautiful place to have a bit of a walk around and get some ice cream like we did. Then it was back to our friend's place to just enjoy an afternoon by the river and let the kids just throw rocks into the water for hours on end. And that was a wrap on our weekend. Now we've got a couple of great camping trips coming up over the next few weeks as we close out the year. If you want to follow along with those, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.